What's up, everybody? Kathleen Zellner just tweeted this. Kathleen Zellner, of course, as we all know, Stephen Avery's current lawyer. We have filed our petition for review with the Wisconsin Supreme Court in Stephen Avery's case. She posted a link to the petition she filed. I will link it in the description below so you can go have a read for yourself. It is a 41-page document. I, of course, will not read the entire 41 pages here, but you can go click it in the description below and have a look for yourself, and if you want to read the whole thing, you can. Let's go over the issues they are presenting to the Supreme Court for review. Number one, whether the Court of Appeals in position of a pleading standard requiring Mr. Avery to prove that the face of his motion that each allegation would result in an acquittal conflicts with the controlling opinions of the United States Supreme Court, this court, and other Wisconsin Court of Appeals decision. Number two, whether suppressing and withholding a CD for 12 years containing a forensic police report of allegedly impeaching and or exculpatory materials requires an evidentiary hearing to determine if a Brady violation has occurred, whether a state's actor's destruction of consented evidence in violation of Wisconsin statute is sufficient evidence of bad faith to require an evidentiary hearing on a Youngblood versus Arizona claim that the destruction of evidence violated the defendant's right to due process. The petition goes on to say, Mr. Avery's case has produced an avalanche of coverage on a worldwide stage. It has generated legal commentary that has not been matched in the last 50 years. Law review articles, law school cases, case law, petitions to the White House, and millions of documentary viewers have grappled with one fundamental question. Did Mr. Avery receive a fair trial free of constitutional violations? When Mr. Avery was an unknown, the Wisconsin courts dismissed his 2013 post-conviction motion as lacking any merit based on unestablished claims, empty without substance, widely speculative, and contrary to Wisconsin's long-standing law and procedures. Now that Mr. Avery has obtained post-conviction counsel and nationally renowned experts, the Court of Appeals has applied a greatly enhanced pleading standard to his motion and has failed to look at the cumulative effect of ineffective assistance of counsel and Brady versus Maryland claims. Also, the Court of Appeals has made sufficient factual errors resulting in unreasonable application of the facts in its analysis of the bullet and bone evidence, which results in erroneous exercise of discretion in affirming the Circuit Court's denial of an evidentiary hearing. Mr. Avery should not be held to a higher standard than other movants. I don't know what that means. Maybe that means other people? The court should apply the standards it has so clearly done in the past cases and allow Mr. Avery to have an evidentiary hearing on the merits of his allegations, constitutional violations. If his conviction truly has integrity, it will withstand the scrutiny of an evidentiary hearing. Without such scrutiny, the question of the integrity and fairness of Mr. Avery's trial hangs like a dark cloud over the Wisconsin justice system. Issue 1, ineffective of counsel. The first issue concerns whether the Court of Appeals exercised its discretion when it applied a standard contrary to this court's decision in State versus Allen, and contrary to this court's interpretation of Strickland versus Washington, by requiring Mr. Avery to conclusively prove in his pleading without an evidentiary hearing that his allegations would have acquitted him. The Court of Appeals failed to analyze the cumulative effect of trial counsel errors. This court should review the misapplication of the Strickland standard to the ineffective assistance of counsel claim pursuant to Wisconsin state. Number 2, Brady violations. The Brady issue concerns the Court of Appeals finding that the defense counsel has a burden of diligence to replicate from raw data that the state's exact findings, contrary to this court's decision in State versus last name I can't pronounce and the Supreme Court. This issue concerns whether this court to find that the failure to disclose a police report allegedly containing favorable forensic evidence to the defense violates Brady, even if the defense could have hired an expert to do its own analysis. The issue further concerns whether the Court of Appeals erred by failing to consider the cumulative effect of errors in assessing Mr. Avery's claim in violation of Kyles versus Whitey. This court should grant review because of the Court of Appeals decision is in conflict with the court's decision in the first case I mentioned and the Supreme Court in Kyles. Number 3, destruction of bone fragments. This issue concerns whether a state actor's destruction of contested evidence in violation with Wisconsin statute, insufficient evidence of bad faith to require an evidentiary hearing on defendants Youngblood versus Arizona claimed that the destruction of evidence violates his right to due process of law. That was the first 9 pages. It's going to be very interesting to see the response to this. I sure hope it's favorable to Stephen Avery. Fingers crossed. Let me know what you think of this. This is some pretty big breaking news for today. Let me know. Leave some comments below. If you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Thank you so much for the support over the last while on these videos on my channel. I cannot thank you enough. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon.